Fragments of clothes fastened to her body, her old flat-heeled shoes still on her feet, a piece of window glass poking out of her shoulder, Pete lying heavy against her. She still had the gun in her hand. The shot had gone in small and hadn't come out big like she expected. It must have been a bad load, jumping around in his brain, making jelly of it. Blood ran from the wound, out of his nose, and onto her. She rolled him off and looked at him. No mistaking. He wasn't going to recover from this. "Surprised you, didn't I?" Sunset said. She studied Pete for a long moment, then started to scream as if a banshee were inside of her. But it wasn't screaming you would have heard if you had been in the other room. It was loud enough, but the storm was louder. The house rocked, squeaked, squealed, and whined. Then, except for the floor, 2 ugly chairs, an iron cook stove, Sunset and the dead man, it was all sucked up and thrown lickety-split on down country. Sunset, screaming, clung to the floor while the storm raved on. The moment the storm passed, the sky turned clear, and the sun poked out and stoked up the heat. It was as if the cool wind and rain had never been. Sunset stood up, weak and bleeding, fragments of her clothes falling from her. She pulled the piece of glass from her shoulder. It came out smooth, without causing too much damage, hardly any blood. Naked, except for her shoes and the gun she was holding, she wandered off of what remained of her house, stumbled down the muddy clay road in front of the place, frogs, minnows, and perch hopping and flapping beneath her shoes. She felt as lost as Cain after he killed Abel. She saw Pete's car, turned over and smashed up, bent in half between 2 big oak trees as if it had been made of wet licorice. Nearby, his wooden file cabinet was burst open, and there were files all over the place. Fatefully, she came across one of her curtains, made from a flour sack and dyed blue. It had wrapped itself around a scrub tree limb and was hanging there like it was on the arm of a valet. Sunset draped it around the lower part of her body, pulled her long red hair down over her breasts, started down the road again, mud squishing around her shoes. Stooping to yank a mashed frog from the bottom of her shoe, she looked up to see the colored knife sharpener, Uncle Riley, coming down the road with his 2 mules and wagon. Uncle Riley's son, Tommy, was walking alongside him, spearing sunperch from the ground with a sharp stick, flipping them into the wagon bed. Uncle Riley pulled on the reins when he saw her, said, "Oh, hell! Now I ain't looking, Miss White Woman, really, and Tommy, he ain't neither. We ain't seeing a thing." But Tommy was seeing plenty. Sunset's breasts were poking through her red hair, and Tommy had never seen breasts before, white or black, except those of his mama when suckling, but that was a long-lost memory. Sunset, at that moment, didn't care who saw what. She was bleeding from nose and mouth, and her eyes were starting to swell shut. She felt as if she had been set on fire and put out with a yard rake. "Uncle Riley," she said, "it's me, Sunset. I've been beat." "Oh, Lord, child, you sure have. I'm gonna get down and help you. Don't shoot at nothing now, you hear?" Sunset staggered to one knee, tried to get up, couldn't. Uncle Riley, who was 6'4" and 44, weighed 220 and had a slick, bald head he covered with a droopy hat, climbed down from the wagon, took off his work shirt, kept his head turned as he walked toward her. Uncle Riley put the shirt over Sunset's shoulders. She dropped the curtain and pulled the shirt shut and buttoned it with her free hand. All this from where she knelt on one knee. She tried again to get up, but couldn't. Uncle Riley lifted her into his arms, easy as a child. She clung to the pistol as if it were a part of her hand. He carried her to the wagon and set her on the seat, climbed up beside her. "Now, I ain't touching on you, Miss Sunset." "It's okay, Uncle Riley. You've been a real gentleman." Tommy, who was standing beside the wagon with a fish stuck on the end of his pointed stick, had yet to close his mouth. "Get on up here," Uncle Riley said. Tommy climbed in the back of the wagon with the fish they had been collecting. They were scattered from one end of the wagon bed to the other, and in places they were ankle-deep. Uncle Riley had seen the rain of fish as a bonus from God. Fish to eat, fish to salt and smoke for later. They had even gathered a few frogs, because Tommy's mama, the midwife, Carrie, liked frog legs. Now Tommy wondered if the fish would keep, because it was turning hot again, and they were having to haul around this beat-up, big-tittied white woman. What in heaven's name were they going to do with her? Tommy thought, her hair is so long and red and wild, it looks like tumbling fire. He smiled to himself. Good Lord! He had seen fish rain from the skies, and he had seen a white woman's tits. It had been a special day. "Miss Sunset, I haul you around like this, they're gonna kill me," Uncle Riley said. "Not with me with you, they won't." Sunset heard her mouth say the right things, but she felt as if it were all a dream. She scratched a place behind her ear with the barrel of the .38. "Missy, they ain't gonna believe me. They ain't gonna believe you." "They'll believe me." "My cousin Jim, he just seen a white woman bending over in her yard, taking hanging clothes from a basket. And though there wasn't nothing to see 'cause she had her clothes on, and he was up on the road, a white man seen him look at her, and for that, the word got around, and them Cluxers took Jim out and castrated him, pouring turpentine on the cuts." "I tell you, it'll be okay." "What's your husband, Mr. Pete, gonna say?" "He ain't gonna say nothing, Uncle Riley. I blew his brains out." "Oh, my goodness!" "Take me to my mother-in-law's." "Sure you want to go to your mama-in-law's?" Uncle Riley said. "My daughter's there. Ain't got nowhere else to go." "Don't know Miss Marilyn gonna take kindly to you shooting her boy." "I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Oh, God, what is Karen gonna think?" "She surely loves her daddy." "She does." "They gonna castrate me and my boy." "No, they're not. I'll see to it. For heaven's sakes, Uncle Riley, I've known you all my life. Your wife helped deliver my baby." "White folks forget them things when they want to, and with this depression on, people just meaner anyhow." The storm had come so fast and furious, it was hard to accept all the sunlight and heat, but already the fish in the back of the wagon were beginning to smell. The leather harnesses creaked, and the oak and hay-stoked bellies of the mules made strange gurgling and trumpeting sounds. From time to time, the mules lifted their tails and farted or did their business, jerked their heads and snatched at greenery, and there was plenty of it, because the trail was narrow and the limbs of trees poked out over it, tempting the mules with their leaves. The wagons squeaked and jostled along the muddy road, and the steam from the mud drying rose up in thin wisps, and there was a smell like pottery firing in a kiln. The sun burned and gnawed at Sunset's wounds and bruises. "I feel like I'm going to pass out," Sunset said. "Don't do that now,